Good Tuesday morning, everybody. As you see, I'm back in my second filming location. This is when I usually talk about movies, and I'm introducing a new segment today. This is going to be a monthly watch list, if you will. So, I'm going to be talking about 11 movies that I watched this month. These will be new theatrically released movies, movies I watched on streaming, and one movie that I watched on home release. So, I got quite a few movies to talk about. Let's get started. And like I said, I don't own a lot of these, so I'll probably just insert the poster. But the first movie I saw in April was Morbius. Now, Morbius is a new Marvel movie, and it is centered around the Spider-Man universe. And it stars Jared Leto as this. He's kind of like he studies blood, and he comes across like this cave full of vampire bats, and he gets infected with it, and he becomes this living vampire. Overall, I did enjoy this movie, but it kind of belonged in like the 2000s to me, especially with some of the special effects. Still an enjoyable watch, but it's not as good as a lot of the Marvel movies that have been coming out in these last 15 years. But overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5, and that is Morbius. The next movie I saw was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Very enjoyable sequel, and you had a introduction to Knuckles and Tails, and it was just Sonic and his second feature film. The only thing I really didn't care about this film was the human side. I could really do without that, but his guardians like went to like Hawaii to like watch a wedding, and it's just like goes back and forth with like Sonic and the human characters. That's my only negative with the movie, and I really enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The next movie I watched was... Okay, I got it. The next movie I watched was the remake of West Side Story. And I watched this on HBO Max. And I thought it was decent, but it's really not my cup of tea because I'm really not into musicals that much. But this tells the story of two gangs against each other, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of deal. And the man dies, spoiler alert. But it's kind of like not Romeo and Juliet because the girl doesn't die in the end. But yeah, it was just okay. I haven't seen the original one yet, but I just wanted to watch the remake to see what it was. And for what it was decent. But I just like the final act of it. And overall, I gave this like a 4 out of 5. So that was West Side Story. The next movie I watched was Ambulance. This is the new Michael Bay movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And this was about two half-brothers like on a bank heist. And they wanted to get away with like, I think it was like $30 million, I think. And they just take this ambulance hostage. And it's just like a 2-hour car chase. It was a really, really fun movie. So I think overall I'm going to give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Still an enjoyable watch though. So that's 4 movies. The next movie I watched was Spiderman No Way Home. And I pretty much watched this the first day I got it. And this was one of my favorite movies of last year. It might actually have been my favorite movie of last year, but you have like Spider-Man being exposed by Mysterio, and he enlists the help of Doctor Strange to put a spell on him to like make everybody forget who he is. But he keeps messing up the spell, and Doctor Strange opens up the multiverse. So you get characters from the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man duology. So you have 5 villains. This was everything to me. And that is a blast to rewatch time and time again. So definitely a 5-star movie. That was Spider-Man No Way Home. The next movie I watched was John Carpenter's Vampires. Now, I came across this on Tubi, and I just watched it for first time in probably over 15 years. Really, really fun vampire movie from the 90s. And it was essentially a group of vampire hunters who kill this nest in the beginning, but the main vampire comes after them and slaughters them all in a motel room, and you only have like 2 survivors and this one girl who was bit. But does she turn? But this was a really, really fun movie from the 90s. I really enjoyed it. So that was John Carpenter's Vampires. And the next movie I watched was a rewatch of Urban Legends Final Cut. This is the sequel to Urban Legend, of course. Came out 2 years later, so this is 2000. And this took place on like a film school. Took place in a film school. And it was just like another psychopath on the loose, like killing people using urban legends. Really enjoyable sequel, but I definitely do think that the original one is better. So that was Urban Legends Final Cut. The next movie I watched was The Northmen. This was the newest Robert Eggers film, and this stars Alexander Skarsgård as a Viking man on the path of revenge. So this has similarities to like The Lion King, Black Panther, Hamlet, but it's a really fascinating delve into revenge. Now, Robert Eggers was known for horror, but with his revenge saga, I'm convinced that I'll definitely go see anything that he makes. I loved The Northmen, so definitely go check it out. That was The Northmen. The next movie I watched for the very first time was Black Hawk Down. Now, this was a movie that came out in 2001 that was based off of a real Marine a real army invasion in Mogadishu, which is the capital of Somalia, and they just try to survive like being demolished by that army. Really, really good war film. I'll have to say, probably like one of my new favorite war films of all time. So definitely check out Black Hawk Down. You won't be disappointed. And now we are at the final movie. Yesterday, I just saw The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This is the new Nick Cage movie, and this stars Nick Cage playing himself, and he gets a call from like his agent, and he wants Nick Cage to like go to like this superfans party in Spain, and you just have like a really good bromance between Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. And this was probably like the most Nick Cageiest movie I've ever seen. So I really enjoyed this one, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. So I definitely recommend a lot of these movies. Definitely go see them in theaters. You can stream them on Tubi and just have fun with them. And that will wrap up my first edition of What I Watched Monthly. And I got a couple more announcements that I want to address. Starting next week, I want to revisit the Jurassic Park franchise. And once I finish that, I'm going to have a ranking of all those movies leading up to Jurassic World Dominion coming out in June. So look forward to that. And I mean, who knows? I might actually go ahead and review all those movies too. But that's coming up. And I also want to, not this very minute, but probably like in August. I know that's a long way off. I want to start rewatching the Halloween franchise leading up to Halloween Ends coming out in October. So look out for that. I'm sure I'll have some more stuff on here. I mean, there might be some reviews coming up soon. So just keep an eye out for that. And I'll go ahead and sign off, and I'll see you later. Bye.